It's 20 degrees outside. So hey, what better day and weather to get outside and well, cut some boards for a project, because I have been given a task. My task today is to build a laundry stand for our new house in the laundry room. Something to sit the washer and dryer on top of to raise it up to where it's more convenient to load and unload, and also give us storage underneath. All right, I've got my portable battery powered miter saw and a little bit of a workstation set up here on the tailgate of the truck bed, because my first step is to cut the rough lumber to size. Then we're gonna go in a house where it's heated and put this together. Real quick, as I go through the process of cutting this, I'll let you know the design criteria for this project. Number one, hold the washer and dryer safely, securely, and at a perfect level that we want. Number two is to make this affordable. What's the point of doing it yourself if you're going to spend much more money than a commercial metal product would have given you to begin with, outside of just having kicks and giggles of being a DIYer? The perks of doing it yourself is usually to save money, so that was number two criteria. Number three criteria was to not paint ourselves into a corner. What you're going to see us build today is a very simple, basic, straightforward riser or stand or pedestal, whatever you want to call it. There are some seriously awesome fancy ones online that you can find. Time is of the essence, so I didn't have the time to really get fancy and awesome with this. However, someday time may come back around and hang out with me a little bit more to allow me to get fancy with this. So I didn't want to paint myself in a corner with a design that when the time came to improve it or add some cool bells and whistles, I didn't have that option. So this is a stripped down bare bones style, but there still is room to improve it, pretty it up, and make it nice in the end without having to trash any of this. Criteria number four was to make it quick and easy. Name of the game is to get this done in one day, start to finish, including moving the washer and dryer in. So I couldn't get fancy with expensive joinery and crazy skills. I've got to keep it basic. So construction lumber, basic tools from the home store, basic skills, and we'll make it happen. All right, that was not too bad at all. Hopefully my math is right, but I got all the pieces cut, and what I'm carrying right now is the top boards of the pedestal. I'm gonna take them inside the house, and we're gonna build something on top of the brand new kitchen island, because why not, right? That's the way I'm rolling, especially with the 20 degrees outside. So let's go inside. Well, while I gather the stuff from out here and head into the house, let's go ahead and take a second and thank the sponsor of today's video, which is laundry related. The company's EarthBreeze, but don't skip this one because I think you guys are really gonna like our creativity with what we show you next.
Have you ever noticed how many unnecessary chemicals are in your cleaning products? Have you ever taken a look at the stuff in your home? Laundry detergent is one of the worst. Enter EarthBreeze. Their eco-friendly detergent sheets are free from harsh chemicals like optical brighteners, dyes, parabens, phosphates, and preservatives. No heavy plastic jugs, no mess, no harsh chemicals. Just a lightweight, pre-measured sheet that you put in the wash and it dissolves in water and your job is done. Did you know that most popular detergents are packed with harsh chemicals that can irritate your skin, mess up your hormones, and cause allergic reactions? Some of these chemicals, like optical brighteners, literally stick to your clothes like glue. And the craziest part, these chemicals don't even clean your clothes. They just trick your eyes into thinking your laundry looks whiter and brighter than it really is. You can actually see them under a black light, and it's pretty gross. We really don't like chemicals in our household products, so it was really nice to find EarthBreeze that gives us an eco-friendly option that is no harsh chemicals, and it works just as great. If you're wondering if it works with your machine, it will. It does just as good of a job as what you've been using, and they have a money-back guarantee if you're not happy with it. Right now, you can try EarthBreeze for up to 40% off plus 4 free gifts at earthbreeze.com/SamAngela.
All right, to protect our island countertop, Angela's gonna lay down 3 trash bags. We think it's gonna cover everything. And we're using that because the wood glue should not stick to the plastic. And it shouldn't stick to the countertop, hopefully. So we've got our workstation set up here, and the first thing I want to do is begin to glue up the tops. So I have 2 different version tops. They're the same overall dimensions, but the way they are cut, it will allow them to overlap and create a double layer thickness top. It'll make more sense whenever you see it. So what I'm gonna do right now is lay out my first pieces just like I want to join them. And to join these boards together, I'm going to be using pocket hole screws and a Kreg jig system that I got from Home Depot. All right, so I have my boards laid out, but what I want to do now is move over here to the edge because we have the trash can set up right here below. And I'm going to use my Kreg Pocket Hole Jig system to drill the holes, and hopefully most of the trash will go in the can here. If nothing else, we'll vacuum it up. It's okay. So we'll get the jig set there. Go ahead and put my first clamp right here. I already have the drill bit preset for the thickness of the wood and everything. And now we just pre-drill the 2 holes for the screws to eventually go into and anchor the pieces together. There's 2 there, and I'll put 2 over in this way. These don't have to be like dead set perfect for this kind of design. So this makes it easy on me just to place and go. Each board will have 4 screws on each end for a total of 16 screws total. How easy was that? I don't know if the camera shows it very well, but this little guy, and this is one of the cheaper versions, makes this so much easier for creating this kind of joinery with woodworking to make furniture, laundry pedestals, or anything. I've always really liked these, and in this application, it's exactly the right tool for the job. What I'm going to do next is use a little bit of wood glue, put a small bead where these 2 boards are about to touch, and then using the appropriate screws, attach the panels together. All right, so what I want to do first is flush up the edge, make sure we're good. Then I'm gonna use my pencil and put a little line right here, because then turning this board on the edge, I know exactly where to put the wood glue. And I wanna put it all the way to the edge. I don't want a lot of squeeze out, but just a little bit to help hold it in place is worth the insurance. Just like that. Put the pieces back together, squish and smush. And for these boards, since they're 3/4 inch thick, we're gonna be using 1 1/4 inch pocket screws. Go ahead and open these up and we'll drive the 4 of them into place. As you're doing this, don't drive the screw in too far. What you wanna be careful of is that the boards are flat, they're flush, and then just let the screws do the work. And also you wanna make sure you don't drive them too far and strip out everything. Just a little bit like that. Definitely use a drill for this, not an impact driver. That way you can get fine control over the speed. And just like that, 4 screws, we've got this glued and attached. Now what we can do is repeat the process all the way around this to create our first panel. And just a few minutes later, we have our very first panel. Ta-ta-da-da. We'll set this aside because we need to make another one that's very similar to this. I'll show you the differences once I get that one together in a few minutes. All right, so that's the second panel laying there. I'll bring this first one back over because I want to show you what I did as far as the differences in joinery. So if you look here, this board comes all the way to the edge and this one's short. This board comes all the way to the edge and this one is short. The reason I did that is because I'm going to stack these on top of each other. And now what I've got is overlap or half lap joints down here. This top, which is what the machines are going to sit on top of, is now going to be double thick, and this whole joint area is really reinforced by having the joints at different spaces. So this is why I did the panels different. I want to at least show you and kind of explain it. This makes a much stronger piece in the end without needing a whole bunch of wood or hardware. What I'm going to do next is set this aside so the glue and the screws can set up more, and I'm going to go ahead and build the leg assemblies, of which I have 3 of those to build. What I want to show you next is the leg assemblies, and legs is probably not the right term, so we'll say stand pieces. I don't know, you guys call it what you want to. So this is what I'm going to be building 3 of. It's made out of standard 2x4 lumber. Let me do this correctly. And it's basically a box. So this is what it will look like, but it's going to be stood up on end to support the weight. What I wanted was something strong, robust, and that I didn't need a ton of to hold the machines, but that I knew would last. All right, so we'll put down a bead of glue right here where the 2 pieces are going to join. Put them together, wiggle them around a little bit to smear that glue, and then we'll drive 2 of these pan head screws in. There we have it. This is the legs. And I didn't want to say legs because I attached the bottom so that they don't splay out and move as the machines move around. So I don't know what you would call this, but we need 3 of them. 1 for the left, 1 for the right, and 1 for the middle. All right, our 3rd leg assembly is done. What we want to do now is take these pieces to our laundry room and let's dry fit it. Let's test everything and make sure we're heading down the right path before we just assume and make it all one big piece and cause ourselves any kind of undue headaches today. Well, it fits great in the space with wiggle room, which is exactly what I wanted. As I measured the cubby, it was right at 60 inches, but I made the top 59 so that I had room to spare and get it fit in there just right. I've talked to Angela about whether we should take all the pieces back out to the kitchen, assemble it, and bring it in as one, but we're not so sure that it would fit without banging up the walls. So I'm gonna get my tools, bring it in here, and we'll assemble this guy in place. I've got the leg assembly out here. This is the one that I want to attach right here. I move the middle one over just to help support the top board. What I'm going to do is put a big old bunch of glue on top of this board, slide it under here. I'm going to flush it up or make it even with this edge and the back. Then I'll attach it with these 1 1/4 inch pan head screws through the top and into the wood. It is all put together. Let's slide it in place and see how it looks. In case you were wondering, I don't know, Sam, that's some skinny pieces of wood. I think we're good. I'm up here dancing a jig. I'm putting more stress on this thing than a washer and dryer will. And this feels pretty good. In order for our dryer to fit back here and have clearance for the duct pipe, I bought this low profile dryer duct adapter. And I've got to cut it to length a little bit so it can collapse down, but this is the secret to putting our dryer in place on top of this pedestal, because obviously the dryer was designed to sit on the ground, so when they put the exhaust or vent in the wall for the house, they put it down there low. So just so you know, these do exist and make this possible. Piece of cake, right? It's been a week or so since I built the stand, and we've been using it almost daily. There is a couple of issues that I want to address, but they shouldn't take too much work. First and foremost is to help address a little bit of the shakes that go on when the washer goes up to its final spin cycle. For that, I went to my workshop and I found a couple of these shelf brackets. They're heavy duty metal. I'm going to use these to attach from the top to the legs on the actual stand itself. And then the other thing, well, I'm not going to show you just yet because you're probably going to freak out. So first, let's do these. So under the stand here is where I'm going to attach these shelf brackets. And I'm going to put them on the back side so that we still have access to get stuff in from the front. So attaching it from the leg to the underside of the top with a couple of the screws. All right. The angle brackets are put into place and I decided to double them up, two at the back, two at the front, and this thing is really solid. I told you guys wouldn't really want to know what that second thing was, but Angela and I debated against attaching this to the floor or attaching it to the wall, and we decided that this would always and forever be a laundry area, and unless this stand physically breaks, we'll always and forever use it. So we destroyed our new flooring by putting a couple of screws through it. But that, with the new brackets on the front and back, have really beefed this thing up, and it is really, really strong. The last thing we need to do is install some feet on the bottom of our dryer, which had to be removed because we had this thing stacked forever and a day. Now it's not stacked, so we bought some feet off of Amazon. We're gonna pry and pick up the machine, thread those in, and then I think we are just about done. Hang on, wait, we need a block, because if this falls off, it's gonna crush your fingers. And that might hurt. I don't know, I'll just strong arm it, at least from the front. We don't need no insurance can there to keep your fingers from being crushed. I got your life in my hands. Is that what they mean by emergency food preparedness? All right, get the can out of the way.
I gotta get
Oh, okay. Well, no rush. I'm just, holding something.
It's really nice having the washer and dryer being this height. It works really good ergonomically since I have a bad back and bending down can be kind of painful sometimes. This is at the perfect level for switching over laundry and for getting it out and putting it in the laundry basket. Another thing that's really nice is that the storage underneath the washer and dryer is big enough for hampers and laundry baskets, so we can stick them under there while we're waiting on loads to be done. And with that, our laundry room is finished, our sand is done, and we are back to doing laundry. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time.
Where'd you go?
Over here.